Hi, Alan. Let me know when you guys are ready. Welcome. Bienvenidos. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the opening ceremony of the Los Angeles Public Library's 150th anniversary celebration. It's our Sesquicentennial. Say that 3 times fast. My name is Diana Olivo-Posner, and I am Principal Librarian for the Exploration and Creativity Department. I'd like to welcome all the people that might be watching at home or in their offices or on their phone somewhere. We're so glad you're joining us. We would also like to recognize and acknowledge the first people of this land. We recognize and acknowledge their elders, past and present, as well as their descendants. For information on which territory you may reside on, you can check out native-land-.ca. Our library system began 150 years ago on December 7th of 1872. Now throughout the city, we have 72 amazing branch libraries and the historic Central Library. It was the first real commitment to meet the public's growing demand back in 1872 for books as well as general educational materials, and it all began in a meeting at the old Merced Theater, just south of El Pueblo de Los Angeles Historic Monument. With California Governor John G. Downey presiding, the Los Angeles Library Association, LALA, predecessor to LAPL, was born. Inside the Downey block at Main and Temple, the newly born library had 2 reading rooms furnished with tables, newspaper racks, and shelves filled with approximately 750 volumes. A smaller adjoining room with tables was set up for checkers and chess, and it was just as popular as the main reading room. From these humble beginnings, we are here today with all of you to celebrate the library's long-standing commitment to provide free and easy access to books, information, and technology that enrich, educate, and empower all visitors to the library. Our library staff throughout the system, have been busy planning a wonderful citywide celebration with 150 days of special activities and programs to give thanks and appreciation to our city residents and leaders who have shown the Los Angeles Public Library so much support and love for all these years. Now to begin our celebration, I would now like to introduce John Zabau, who is the 20th city librarian to lead the library department. So please put your hands together to welcome our city librarian, John Zabau.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Los Angeles. And welcome to Central Library. And I want to just begin by thanking Diane Olivo-Posner and her planning team for the fantastic celebration that you've prepared for us for the next 150 days. Thank you very much. And I also would like you all to join me. We're not going to sing, but to wish her a happy birthday, because today is Diane's birthday. Happy birthday. I am so pleased. I'm proud to be here with you, all of you here in the audience and those of us who are joining online, to mark the 150th anniversary of the Los Angeles Public Library. There are not many institutions in Los Angeles that have been around for 150 years, and it's something that all of us who work here, who live here, and who are patrons and supporters of the library, I think, should be very proud of. Ulysses S. Grant was president when those folks met at the Merced Theater, which is still standing, by the way, near Pico House here in downtown Los Angeles. And as I've been thinking a lot in the days leading up to this, and I am always sort of thinking about the library and the big picture of our city and what we're doing here, and the great work that we're doing. But it is just so delightfully overwhelming to think about the impact that this institution and the good people that have worked in it have had on this city of angels and its residents for all of these 150 years. The 150 years are also a reminder of how resilient, adaptable, loved, and supported public libraries are, something I know I'm very thankful for, and how much we've evolved and grown. And it's also looking at these 150 years and where we started in 1872 with 750 books and what that meant as a library in the city, how important it is to relentlessly focus on equity. And I think we've come a ways, but we have a long way to go. But to focus on equity to ensure that our services, our collections, our staff, our public programs, our policies, how we procure things, all of that really reflect and respond to the diversity of the communities that we serve and why that is so core to being successful. And I think it's core to our sustainability and to our being here for another 150 years. And as I said, we've come a long way, but we've got much work to do. And without question, we are in libraries, and certainly here at the LA Public Library, more relevant than ever. We are more dynamic than ever. And in small towns and big cities, public libraries are not nice-to-do institutions. And I think that is something we, of course, have known for a long time, but is increasingly evident as we look at democracy and the connectedness between democracy and public libraries, and the fragility of our democracy and the criticality of public libraries. But again, we're not icing on the cake. We are absolutely critical and essential to the communities that we serve. And as I ponder 150 years, my first thoughts absolutely are of our amazing staff, past and present in this institution. The reason we're here today celebrating 150 years is because of their hard work, their commitment, their investments in this institution, and the people that we serve. Employees who are here for just a short time, employees who spent their entire careers here with the library. Seemingly small decisions day to day that are really big decisions. One project that blossoms into huge impact. Right now, today, in this library, we're open to the public. 72 branch libraries across the city, open to the public. There is huge impact just in this one day. And there are young people coming into our libraries who through our programs, our books, our resources, a few words from a library staff member whose world is open to all sorts of possibilities. And that's really exciting to think about. And there's a reason, getting back to staff, a reason people voted for Measure L back in 2011. I say this a lot, and I say it when I'm talking about the budget every year. The reason people voted for Measure L was not because we have all these pretty buildings, including this fabulous one, which we're very proud of and we're a good steward of. Not because of our huge collections, but it's really about what LAPL staff have delivered for years and years and years. That is what produces the love and the support that this library is so fortunate to have. And so today I'm thinking about all of those staff, the staff that are here with us today and working at the Los Angeles Public Library. But I'm also thinking about people like Miriam Matthews, and I feel like it's important to call out her name, first African-American librarian at LAPL. Tessa Kelso, Lois Pleasance, Lodrick Cook and the Save Our Books campaign, Susan Kent and the branch expansion. Library commissioners like Rita Walters, who we just dedicated our Vermont Square branch library to, and Commissioner Josefa Salinas, who just passed away a few weeks ago. And believe me, if I could, I'd be here all day calling out names of people that have made great contributions to our libraries. But it's important that we look back and think about all of those folks. And also, and not just because we have two very important library dignitaries here today, who I'll introduce in a little bit, but I think it's important that we celebrate the American Library Association and other library organizations like PLA and Urban Libraries Council and Reforma and the Asian Pacific American Librarians Association, the Black Caucus of ALA and the Chinese American Librarians Association and JCLC and all of the affiliates not only for their leadership and their advocacy, but also for the opportunity that they have provided and continue to provide to our staff at the Los Angeles Public Library to grow and to connect and have an even greater impact on the people we serve. And I think that's really important, and that's an asset as well. And also I want to acknowledge Ask Me union leadership and members for their work and advocacy for our libraries. For library workers, in so many ways, they have been leaders in advocating for our libraries, library staff, library workers to make this an attractive, excellent place to work with great working conditions and all. But also, it should be mentioned, they were tremendous advocates of Measure L and all of the things that we're able to do today because of where our financial support is from this great city. Goes back to the folks that work really hard, standing on street corners with signs, and I've seen pictures of all of that. Our Librarians Guild and our unions were very involved in that, and leaders in that, and helped to bring about that incredible thing that benefits us every single year, and has produced a tremendous amount of good and service and sustainability for our institution. And I also want to pay tribute to all of our users, our patrons, residents of this city who've supported our library, volunteers, supporters, whether informally supporting us or formally supporting us through some of our organizations. I want to thank our Library Foundation of Los Angeles, who's celebrating 30 years this year of service and support for the library, our Friends of the Library groups, and all of the support organizations. We have, I think, 69 of those organizations supporting individual branch libraries, collections, and departments here at Central Library. The Department of Sanitation does not have all of that. And I am forever grateful, and some of you have heard me say that before, but let us not take that for granted that we have that incredible support. And that's really nice to remind elected officials and others that there is that support in library land for our department and our work. And all of this support is necessary for the long-term sustainability of the Los Angeles Public Library. And as I stand here on this stage, and I'm at this podium a lot, I am reminded of all of the folks that have come along on this stage and who are part of the library family as well. And Amanda Gorman, inaugural poet, who became Youth Poet Laureate of Los Angeles on this stage and went on to, of course, be the inaugural poet and is doing incredible things as an author and a writer and wants to become president of the United States one day. And we may very well see that. RuPaul on this stage. And again, because everything goes back to library staff, the reason RuPaul was on this stage is because RuPaul came to a program in this space, a public program on punk music. And RuPaul was in town, I think, for RuPaul's Drag Race and was filming and had nothing to do that day. Was wandering down and walked into the library, walked up to a staff person in the Singleton Literacy Center and said, is there anything happening here at the library today? And they said, oh yeah, there's a program on punk music. And RuPaul came in, sat back there, and afterwards, so it was that staff person that told RuPaul, go into the punk, and promoted the punk program. And then another staff person who went up to RuPaul afterwards and said, would you like to do one of our LA-made programs? And RuPaul said yes. And so, and the rest is history. Speaking of punk, Exene Cervenka has been on this stage. We recently saw photos of King Charles, who at the time was Prince of Wales, who was here and has been on this stage and toured this library shortly after it opened. A few weeks ago, Surgeon General Vivek Murthy was here talking about social isolation as a national health issue. And this also happens in branch libraries as well, the Linda Lindas, because All Things Are Punk, all-girl teen punk band performing at the Cypress Park Branch Library. The video of it went viral. They have a record contract. We're on Jimmy Kimmel, toured, and performed at the Hollywood Bowl. Again, goes back to staff. It was staff who brought them to do that program, staff that thought somebody gave them a I Love LAPL pin and put the library brand and the card in the background, and our social media team who very thoughtfully promoted it, and that's been a wonderful message for libraries. So let it be known and recorded that there have been 3 references to punk music already in our 150th celebration. And also citizenship ceremonies, producing tears like you wouldn't believe, with people taking their oath of citizenship in this space, and the library's role in helping people to become citizens. Career Online high school graduation ceremonies, also with tears in the audience, with children of adult graduates in that program, 778 graduates to date with another 270 enrolled. And our New Americans Initiative, just to call out some programs that we're doing now, began with citizenship corners and then evolved into a robust immigrant serving program with 7 New American centers in our libraries and New Americans welcome stations in all 73 of our libraries, not only to provide services, but to send a message that this library is for absolutely everyone in our community. And I am reminded of the story of Sergio Sanchez, a patron of our Wilshire Branch Library, who, wandering by the library one day, saw a sign, of course, that a librarian put up and created, and a program that a librarian created about a citizenship class at that library, signed up, participated, became a citizen. His wife Francisca did as well. And then when the library won the National Medal for Museum and Library Service in 2015, we had to pick one patron to represent what the library delivers. And it was Sergio Sanchez that we asked to come with us to Washington, D.C., and to come to the White House. And I remember he and Francisca on the bus coming to the White House from the hotel in Arlington, Virginia, looking at all that Washington was, and coming into the White House and being able to meet Michelle Obama and to be part of that medal ceremony. And that was such an American moment. It was a Los Angeles moment, and it was a public library moment, and said wonderful things about what the library stands for and what the library delivers. And Sergio Sanchez continues to be an incredible ambassador for the LA Public Library. And you know, digital equity also. Just yesterday we were at the Baldwin Hills Branch Library with the mayor, talking about the Federal Communications Commission Emergency Connectivity Fund, major grant funding we've received to do 7,000 laptop and mobile Wi-Fi hotspot bundles to address digital equity in our community. And all that means, and all of the digital equity work over the past 30 years, from PCs in the early 90s to Wi-Fi hotspots, tech tryout carts, maker spaces, the Octavia lab here at Central Library, where there's an open house this afternoon. Be sure to stop by. And also, while I'm plugging things here at the library today, please check out the Creators in Residence exhibit with the wonderful photography of Quasi Boyd Bolden and the incredible artwork of River Garza. Their work reflects LA, also has the public, is about and of the public library as well. Please see that exhibit. And also Shades of LA exhibit on the Annenberg Gallery off the rotunda on the 2nd floor, highlighting a portion of our photo collection. Both of those projects very much involving staff. Christina Rice is the person that was involved with both of those. And I'm so proud that the library embraces the constant evolution of public needs, exponentially increasing our relevance and impact in serving education, information, and recreational needs and interests of the residents of this city. And speaking of impact, I'd like to take this moment to recognize and thank 2 leaders focused on impact, and 2 individuals who are really champions of this profession, the world of libraries and library workers. The current American Library Association President, Lessa Kanani Opua Paleo Lozada. Thank you for being here. We are also super proud at the LA Public Library that she is a resident of Los Angeles, a resident of San Pedro, and a patron of the San Pedro Branch Library. And I also want to thank and welcome ALA President-elect Emily Drabinski. Thank you so much for being here. So the library has a number of special events planned for over these next 150 days, and I hope you all will join us. Again, thank you all so much for being here, those of you in person, those of you online. Thank you for being a very real part of why we are here 150 years later, stronger and better than ever. And it is my great privilege and pleasure to be able to lead this institution. It is my honor to work alongside all of you who are library staff. Here's to another fabulous 150 years of service. Thank you all so much.
Okay, well, I don't know if you guys have noticed on your cell phones or watches that the library really did turn 150 because it's past 105. 150. Sorry about that. Okay, so if everyone could stand up, and all the people that are all our presenters, if you could get to the stage, and those at home, if you'd like to stand up, you don't have to. You could be relaxed on your couch. We're going to have Joanna Fabicon lead us in our book toast.
Okay, everyone, please raise your books, or if you have a device and you read on your device, that would work too. All right, to the Los Angeles Public Library, as we remember the past, celebrate the present, and imagine the future to the next 150 years. Hear, hear.
Cheers.
Should be here. Little technical difficulties. Should be there. Here we go. Nope.
I don't know.
Oh, it worked. The password worked, the secret password. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us in that book toast. And thank you, John, for being our city librarian. Now, I would like to introduce a short message from Dr. Carla Hayden, who was sworn in as the 14th Librarian of Congress in 2016. Dr. Hayden, the first woman and the first African American to lead the National Library, was nominated to the position by President Barack Obama. Her comments were prepared in conjunction with the Library Foundation of Los Angeles' Literary Awards.
Hello, I'm Librarian of Congress Carla Hayden. I'm delighted to celebrate and congratulate the Los Angeles Public Library on their 150th anniversary. Your library has a vital role in providing the necessary resources and collections for your users. But most importantly, you continue to tell and preserve the collective history of the diverse community of Los Angeles. For 150 years, you have empowered generations of patrons who have walked through your library and digital doors. From downtown LA to North Hollywood, from Northridge to Silver Lake, you are an integral part of your community. My sincere congratulations on this milestone anniversary.
Woo-hoo, Dr. Hayden. Well, to help celebrate, the lapl.org/150 page was created to share all that we have in store for the next 150 days. Beginning today through May 6th, there will be programming across our library system. Pictured on the slide is from our Tessa collection is Mary Foy, LAPL's first salaried librarian, 1880 to 1884. We hope all patrons will visit all our locations for the upcoming 150th events. Now over to some of our amazing translation team members to welcome everyone in Spanish.
Feliz 150 aniversario LAPL. Hola, mi nombre es Patricia Valdovinos y soy bibliotecaria en el Departamento de Colecciones Multilingües.
Mi nombre es Madeline Peña y soy la bibliotecaria a cargo del Departamento de Promoción Comunitaria.
La Biblioteca Pública de Los Ángeles inició un día como hoy, hace 150 años, el 7 de diciembre del año 1872. La reunión en el Teatro Merced, justo al sur del Monumento Histórico El Pueblo de Los Ángeles, fue el primer compromiso real de satisfacer la creciente demanda de libros y materiales educativos de esta ciudad. Bajo el liderazgo del gobernador de California, John Downey, la Asociación de Bibliotecas de Los Ángeles, predecesora de la Biblioteca Pública de Los Ángeles, fue creada.
Nuestro inicio fue humilde. 2 salas de lectura y 750 libros dentro del edificio Downey Block, ubicado en la intersección de las calles Main y Temple. Hoy, nuestro sistema de bibliotecas públicas cuenta con una colección de más de 6 millones de títulos y brindamos acceso gratuito y fácil a información, ideas, libros y tecnología a través de la histórica Biblioteca Central, las 72 sucursales y el sitio web lapl.org.
Hoy iniciamos la celebración de nuestros 150 años de servicio a Los Ángeles con 150 días de actividades y eventos especiales. ¿Cómo puedes unirte a la celebración? Inscribiéndote al reto del 150 aniversario para obtener medallas digitales y tener la oportunidad de ganar premios. Entre ellos, una tarjeta de regalo para The Library Store. Asiste a los programas y eventos que tenemos planeados para todas las edades en nuestras bibliotecas.
Aprende sobre nuestra historia a través de las décadas al explorar nuestra línea del tiempo. Visita la exhibición del Sesquicentennial que abrirá en marzo del próximo año aquí en la Biblioteca Central. Comparte tus recuerdos de la biblioteca a través de la plataforma de historias audiovisuales Their Story y viaja en el tiempo y resuelve una serie de enigmas en la sala de escape virtual.
Visita lpa.org/150 para más información.
Gracias.
Bye.
Bravo. Gracias. Thank you, Madeline and Patty. So as they mentioned, the elements of the celebration will include at the 150th Anniversary Reading Challenge, starting today, December 7th, and concluding May 6th. Check out the link to the challenge at lapl.org/150. I think everyone's going to get a tattoo of that now, right? A timeline of LAPL's 150th year history created by our History and Genealogy Department, an LAPL exhibit curated by the photo department in the Getty Gallery, a link to capture everyone's recorded memory via Their Story website, so you can record your library memories, and a virtual escape room. Now, over to Joanna Fabicon, the Senior Librarian for Children's Services, for information on programming.
Thank you, Diane. Please excuse this slight adjustment from the shortest person who's presenting. Thank you. All right. Well, throughout all the branches of Los Angeles Public Library, you'll see plenty of opportunities to celebrate this special anniversary. Interactive displays, art, and activities. You can also celebrate in the digital world, which I will demonstrate now. Here's our scene, everyone. There's a celebration at the library. They're going to open a time capsule that was hidden 150 years ago. A crowd is gathering. Everyone seems excited, except for one oddly dressed man standing in the corner and glaring at everyone. Do you see him there? You hear him mutter, "Soon this awful place will be wiped from the history books. Then I'll wipe the history books too." a swirling blue vortex appears. The crowd gasps and shudders. Are you gasping? Thank you. Except for that odd frowning man. He nods once and turns towards the vortex. You sense he is up to no good. So after a moment's hesitation, you follow him into the spinning vortex. The world seems to bend around you, and the vortex fills the rotunda. It is spinning and spinning and Okay, thank you, vortex. Thank you. And when the swirling blue vortex stops spinning, you find yourself in the Central Library Rotunda again. But something is different. The crowds are gone. Teenscape is gone. The frowning man is gone. What happened? Who was that weird man? Click around for clues. So these are the first few images you see on our virtual escape room. This game is called Time Travelers Wanted, a virtual escape room, and it's a series of Google Slides, forms, and drawings that are meant to lead players through a time travel adventure covering some of Los Angeles Public Library's history through a series of puzzles. You can find this virtual escape room where else but lapl.org/150, which also has an amazing timeline. And to tell us more about that, I'm going to bring up Callie Wallace from the Librarian 3 from the History Department.
Thank you, Joanna. This slide features two of the amazing librarians who have worked for the Los Angeles Public Library over the past 150 years. In the upper left is Miriam Matthews. In 1927, she was hired as Los Angeles Public Library's first African-American librarian. In the middle of the lower row is Everett Robbins Perry. As city librarian, he lobbied hard and long for a permanent home for Central Library. When the new Central Library opened, his vision was evident in both design and the prevailing philosophy. Now I'm excited to share with you the interactive timeline with highlights from the past 150 years, photos and blog posts. The entries spotlight the founding of the library, the development of the branch library system, the library's wonderful collections and services, as well as the challenges faced and met by the library over the 150 years of its history. Now I want to show you a few of the entries to whet your appetite. In 1910, Andrew Carnegie gives $210,000 for the building of 6 branch libraries, including Vermont Square. Still active, Vermont Square opened in 1913. It's still active and is the current oldest branch library building in the system. In 1949, Bookmobile service begins, one of the many community outreach programs provided by the library over the 150 years. In 1982, on April 13th, the Hollywood Branch Library burned. Only 20,000 of its 90,000 books were salvageable. This entry links to a great public service announcement video narrated by Orson Welles. We will be adding new content throughout the 150 days of the celebration. New blog posts, photos, a quiz, and other fun features you won't want to miss. So keep checking back at lapl.org/150. Now back to Diane.
Bravo, Kelly, bravo. So as mentioned earlier, we wanted to share the exciting news that there will be a History of the Los Angeles Public Library exhibit in the Central Library's Getty Gallery, expected to be opened sometime in March of 2023. The exhibit will be spearheaded, or is being spearheaded, by the Senior Librarian of the Photo Collection, Christina Rice, who's sitting in the front row, and Jim Sherman from the Fiction and Literature Department. Woo! And remember, there will also be a 150th reading challenge for all of you readers out there. Just as with many of our reading challenges, we will be using the Beanstack platform, where patrons can complete challenges to earn points and win prizes. Now, over to Kevin Awakuni from the Exploration and Creativity Department.
Hello. In collaboration with Gallery 1988, limited edition posters celebrating the library's 150th anniversary were created by the graphic designers DKNG. Poster features 150 titles from book lists curated by our very own librarians to ensure a wide diversity of voices and genders were represented. All 72 branches are going to be receiving copies to display in their branches, and a limited number of copies will be available to be purchased at the library store as well. So it's pretty cool. It's 150 titles. They worked really hard. I think it looks pretty cool. And yeah. So now, pivoting slightly, as we celebrate 150 years of library service, think about how far we've come from those 2 reading rooms at the Downey Block to now loaning out laptops and Wi-Fi to our patrons. It is my sincere belief that one of the goals of the library is to continue to always evolve and to meet the technological needs of our patrons. So with that in mind, I'd now like to invite Jason Crockett, Public Policy Manager at Snapchat, to share some exciting news about augmented reality that can be experienced right here at our Central Library. Jason?
I'm a little taller. Awesome. Thank you so much, Kevin, and thank you everyone for having me. Thank you to the LAPL team. I've been working with Diane for like a couple of weeks in the lead up to this event. At no point did she say that her birthday was today. So there's a lot of humility up here and humbleness. They've been, laser focused, but again, happy birthday, Diane. And of course, happy birthday, LA Public Libraries. We're doing some really cool stuff around augmented reality technology generally, but there's a really amazing activation that we're going to be able to debut for you all here that features the library. Before I jump in, however, I want to just share a little bit about us at Snapchat. At our core, Snapchat considers itself a technology company. We aim to be the easiest and fastest way for people to communicate with real friends in low pressure and authentic ways. And we believe that the camera presents the best opportunity to improve the way that people connect to one another through visual communication. At Snap, many of you, by the way, are probably hearing a lot about the metaverse and VR. I'm sure. Raise your hand if you're hearing about this. Now raise your hand if you could tell me what it is. I can't. But at Snap, we really look at the metaverse and VR as this idea of living inside of the computer, putting the consumer inside of the computer. I don't know about you, but after a long day at work, I don't necessarily want to come home and go inside of a computer. I don't want to escape the world. And to be honest, all of the historical trends in computing indicate that people want less friction in the way of their experiences, not more. So even as you want more powerful computing in your lives, you don't necessarily want it to be blocked by devices. And that's why, for us, we're investing heavily in augmented reality. Rather than putting people inside of the computer, we believe that through AR technology, we can layer computing over the real world, over the lived environment. And we think that's a far more optimistic vision of the future and something that people can actually be excited about. Now, we started with augmented reality as many things start, focused on fun. How do we create fun experiences? And so many of you may have seen, or your children, I will say, may likely have seen some of our face lenses. You can turn your face into a frog that's riveting, or you can put a flower in your hand that's not actually there. You can kind of have a retro dance theme, or you can, turn your face into clay and watch it break away. These are all fun experiences that maybe don't have the most utility. But as we've seen in history, fun is often the preamble to utility. Today, you can actually learn sign language using augmented reality through Snapchat. You can teach someone CPR using augmented reality through Snapchat. Think about how much more immersive and effective that can be as compared to traditional ways of education. And it's not just education where we see AR having a huge impact. The arts present incredible opportunity. And here you're seeing our partnership that we launched with LA County Museum of Arts about a year and a half ago, going on 2 years ago, where we're highlighting incredible moments and people and locations in Los Angeles' history for which there is no monument. It's called Monumental Perspectives, bringing to life these moments for a new generation of Angelenos to learn about in a new, immersive, and creative manner. And we're covering so many different topics, from the plight of food vendors, who play such an important role in our culture here in Los Angeles, to the history of the Tovangar tribe, who were the founders of this land that we sit on today. And there's so much more. Just 2 months ago, we launched a project with the Annenberg Foundation at their wildlife crossing in the Santa Monica Mountains, being able to bring to life through augmented reality the largest wildlife crossing in the world that's going to help to address biodiversity challenges in the Santa Monica Mountains. Most people aren't necessarily going to go to the Santa Monica Mountains, but from their home, they can tap in and experience this actual crossing being built and learn more about the wildlife that's going to be protected. They can follow its construction and keep up with how they can support the cause. And so, as we see the many applications, I want to debut something that we're really excited about, because to me it represents an important inflection point in AR becoming that utility that it has the potential to be. I'm going to share a video with you of a gentleman named Michael French, an Angeleno, an AR developer, and a true champion of public libraries.
My name is Michael French. I'm an artist and designer in augmented reality. I specialize and have an interest in kind of novel interaction patterns and exploring these frontiers that AR is offering us as creatives to explore right now. I'm especially interested in lenses and developing experiences as Lens Studio and the technology around it evolves. As a submission for the 2022 Dream It Build It Lensathon, I created an education-focused lens called the Knowledge Pool, a location-based AR experience that lives at this fountain just outside of the Los Angeles Public Library's Central Library in downtown LA. I chose that location in part, at least conceptually, because when I think of the library and its mission, I think of our kind of collective aspirations toward greater understanding of the world we live in and knowledge, and also kind of the open access to anyone and everyone to that knowledge. But then when I went there to sort of look around and think about it, that's when I first saw that these fountains outside of the library that are the centerpiece of this big monument to knowledge are empty right now because of the drought and the library's civic responsibility of sacrificing some of the beauty of the monument in favor of water conservation. But the story behind them is still wonderful, and you can still honor their original purpose, but let them relate to the public again. In the lens itself, I tried to explore a series of bite-sized educational activities that a user, when they arrive there, if you look at this pool where the lens appears, it asks you to unlock it with a library card that you hold up. These educational activities are housed in this kind of bigger educational ecosystem where a user can kind of transition between these different experiences. If you conceptualize like what AR is in kind of the broadest sense, like a portal at the interchange between this giant like physical world and the giant digital world, and AR is a great sort of like portal in the middle of that. There are a couple of subject areas being outer space exploration and undersea exploration, and there are some activities around how you can interact with and understand some principles that then might excite you to learn more or to continue through the other experiences in the knowledge pool itself. You also get suggestions about library titles that relate to that, or pathways to other ways to learn about this stuff. It's gamified to some degree by awarding these kind of achievement badges that are then attached to the user's library card. So if they leave the experience or go home, they still have through the lens this kind of acknowledgement of their achievements and those learning experiences that they completed. I started this lens with the custom landmarker template that allowed me to scan this fountain outside the library, get some mesh detail about it as a starting point within Lens Studio, and also determine the various kind of perspectives from which the user might approach the experience itself. Once that was established, I took pieces from the image marker template to use on the library card, establishing that as something that the lens would recognize to activate the experience. I had some physics features in there, some custom materials that I built using references from a number of templates, but all housed in this custom landmarker feature. Thinking about how the user understands what state the experience is in at any given point became a critical part of sort of planning the whole experience, always with this touch point of what experience I want the user to have, knowing that they will be wowed by the technology and that the magic of AR and that wonderment that comes from it, the more sophisticated and the more kind of lengthy an AR project becomes, the more you need to think about every move you make from the point of view of how the user will sense that, how they will know where to look when, always coming back to the user as the center of this experience. I would hope that when people interact with the lens, at the very least, I would want them to come away feeling that sense of wonderment that I think most of us have had when we've seen something, especially in AR for the first time, that we didn't know this was possible yet, or this kind of thing. There's a lot that you can get from that simple initial moment of engagement that is helped by things outside of the traditional learning environments. I think AR's role in education in the future becomes this powerful nexus between these worlds of the physical and the virtual and the digital, creating that kind of interchange point between physical and analog learning and digital learning, and presents the power of both of those combined in a new expression, but doesn't try to replace everything that is also powerful in that ecosystem. Being a part of the Snap Lens Network community has been nothing but inspiration and positivity to me, but having that community there has totally changed the way I see my relationship to other people working in the medium. It's pretty remarkable the amount of kind of mutual support and mutual positivity and excitement that's happening in that community right now, and the speed at which the whole field is developing. To have that group of people there all cheering each other on and getting excited about each other's ideas. You see people doing incredible things that you never thought of, and you're like, okay, I want to do something like that too. I want to stay part of this conversation. I want to offer something that they can feed off of. It's just a different kind of way to approach creative work, but always coming back to Lens Studio as sort of the heart of where the project is taking shape and where the magic happens.
Being able to take something as innocuous, beautiful but innocuous as a fountain and turn it into an entire experience is just the tip of the iceberg for the power of augmented reality. We're so excited to be able to preview this partnership with you all here at the library, but just know we want to do more. Michael wanted to be here physically. He unfortunately is down with a bout of COVID, but he sends his love and his promise that he is just getting started with the Knowledge Pool and is excited to explore more opportunities to educate patrons of the library and help build a new model for how we can engage the next generation and ensure the future of the library for the next 150 years. Thank you all so much again for letting me be a part of this incredible day, and thank you to the library team for giving us this space.
Thank you, Jason. Wait, this is really high. There we go. Thank you, Jason and Snapchat and Michael. I hope he gets well soon. And thank you all so much for attending today's kickoff. We hope we gave you a little taste of what the next 150 days will be like for everybody. And I want to especially thank all of the library staff and the generous Library Foundation. And the amazing team. who helped bring the celebration to reality. So, gracias por todo. Bye-bye. All right, I want to invite everyone